A homeless woman stood outside the Golden Star Theater, shivering in the October rain. Her name was Naomi Rivers, and she clutched her 9-month-old daughter Zara against her chest, trying to shield the baby from the cold. The neon sign above flickered. "City's Got Talent. Open auditions tonight." Naomi's voice was barely a whisper as she approached the security guard. "Please, I just need to sing. Just one song. If I do well, could someone give my baby some food?" The guard looked her up and down with disgust. "Lady, this isn't a soup kitchen. Move along before I call the cops." Hello, friends. Welcome to Black Bite Stories. Before we begin today's story, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We love hearing from our global family. Naomi's legs trembled. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. Zara had been crying all afternoon, hungry and confused. Naomi had given her the last of her formula that morning. Now there was nothing left. She turned to walk away, her torn sneakers squelching in the puddles, when a voice cut through the rain. "Wait." Let her audition. A tall black man in an expensive suit walked toward them, his umbrella shielding him from the downpour. He was Marcus Chen, a famous music producer and one of the show's judges. His eyes were kind but searching. "What's your name?" he asked gently. Naomi looked up, startled that anyone was speaking to her like a human being. "Naomi Rivers." Marcus turned to the security guard. "She auditions." "That's not a request," the guard sputtered, but Marcus was already guiding Naomi toward the entrance. Inside, the theater lobby was warm and bright. Other contestants milled around in designer clothes, clutching water bottles and scrolling through their phones. When Naomi entered, dripping and desperate conversations stopped. Whispers started immediately. "Is that a homeless woman? This is disgusting. They'll let anyone in now. That poor baby. Someone should call child services." Naomi kept her eyes down, holding Zara tighter. The baby had stopped crying, exhausted and weak. At the registration table, a woman with perfect makeup and a clipboard looked horrified. "Sir, Mr. Chen, we have standards. She can't possibly." Marcus cut her off. "She can, and she will. Register her last slot of the night." The woman's lips pressed into a thin line, but she wrote down Naomi's name. As Marcus walked away, another judge appeared from the hallway. Her name was Victoria Sterling, a former opera singer known for her cutting critiques and zero tolerance for mediocrity. She was white, in her 50s, and wore her authority like armor. Victoria took one look at Naomi and sneered. "Marcus, what charity case have you dragged in now? This is a talent competition, not a homeless shelter fundraiser." Marcus turned slowly, his voice cold. "She hasn't sung yet. Or have you started judging people by their clothes instead of their voices?" Victoria laughed, sharp and cruel. "Look at her. She's probably on drugs. That baby looks malnourished. This is irresponsible, Marcus. We have a brand to protect." Naomi felt the words like slaps. She wanted to defend herself, to explain that she'd never touched drugs in her life, that she'd been a music teacher before everything fell apart, but her voice wouldn't come. Marcus stepped closer to Victoria. "If you judge her before you hear her, you're everything that's wrong with this industry." Victoria rolled her eyes and walked away, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor. The auditions began. One by one, contestants took the stage. Some were good, some were mediocre, some were terrible. The judges sat at a long table facing the stage. Marcus on the left, Victoria in the middle, and a younger judge named Ryan Torres on the right. Ryan was quiet, observant, a guitarist who'd built his career from nothing. He watched everything with careful eyes. Finally, at 11 p.m., the last name was called Naomi Rivers. The theater had emptied. Only about 50 people remained in the audience, mostly crew members and a few die-hard fans. Naomi walked onto the stage, still holding Zara. The baby had woken up and was whimpering softly. The stage lights were too bright. Naomi couldn't see the judges clearly, only their silhouettes. Victoria's voice rang out immediately. "You cannot be serious. She's brought a baby on stage. This is a circus." Marcus's voice was firm. "Let her sing." Naomi stood at the microphone stand, frozen. She looked down at Zara, whose tiny face was scrunched up, ready to cry. Naomi started to speak, but her voice cracked. I'm sorry. I know I don't belong here, but I used to be a music teacher. I taught choir at Riverside High School. I just, ... I need my daughter to eat. If I sing well, could someone please just give her a little food? Anything. Silence filled the theater. Then someone in the back laughed. A crew member whispered loudly, "Music teacher. Yeah, right." Victoria leaned into her microphone. "This is exploitative, using your child to gain sympathy votes. I've seen everything now." Naomi's eyes filled with tears. She turned to leave, but Marcus's voice stopped her. "Naomi, what will you be singing?" Naomi turned back slowly. "I wrote it myself. It's called Still Here." Victoria groaned audibly. "An original, of course. This gets better and better." Marcus ignored her. "Whenever you're ready, Naomi." Naomi closed her eyes. She took 3 deep breaths, feeling Zara's small body against hers. Then she began to sing. At first her voice was soft, barely more than a whisper, but it was pure, clear, haunting. "I walked through fire. I walked through shame. I lost my home. I lost my name. But I'm still here, still breathing air. I'm still here, still fighting despair." The melody was simple, but the emotion in her voice was staggering. It wasn't just singing, it was survival carved into sound. The theater went completely silent. Even the crew members stopped moving. They said I was nothing, said I was done. They turned their backs, every single one. But I held my baby through the coldest night. I sang her songs till the morning light. Naomi's voice grew stronger with each line. Zara had stopped whimpering and was staring up at her mother's face, mesmerized. "So here I stand with my child in my arms. We survived the streets, we survived the storms. You can judge me, you can look away, but I'm still here, still standing today." At the judges' table, Ryan Torres leaned forward, his mouth slightly open. Victoria's expression had shifted from contempt to shock. Marcus had tears streaming down his face. I sang on corners just to stay alive. My voice was all I had to survive. But music saved me, gave me a reason. Music carried me through every season. Naomi's voice soared now, filling every corner of the theater with raw, unfiltered truth. "So this is my story. This is my song. I'm still here. I've been here all along. And if this is my last chance to be heard, I'll sing with everything, every single word." The final note hung in the air like a prayer, then absolute silence. For 5 full seconds, no one moved, no one breathed. Then Ryan Torres stood up, clapping. Marcus stood next. Then someone in the audience, then everyone. The entire theater erupted in a standing ovation. Crew members were crying. The few audience members were cheering. Even Victoria Sterling was on her feet, though her face was unreadable. The applause went on and on. Naomi stood on the stage, trembling, unable to process what was happening. Zara looked around at all the noise and suddenly smiled, a pure baby smile that broke through the tension. Marcus grabbed his microphone, his voice shaking. Naomi, that was. I've been in this industry for 20 years. I've produced platinum albums. I've worked with the greatest voices of our generation. And what you just did, ... double quotes, he paused, wiping his eyes. That was the most powerful thing I've ever heard. Ryan Torex nodded vigorously. You didn't just sing a song, you told us the truth. That's what art is supposed to be. All eyes turned to Victoria. She stood there, microphone in hand, silent. Finally she spoke, and her voice was different, quieter. I judged you before you opened your mouth. I looked at your clothes, your situation, and I decided you weren't worth my time. She paused, and for the first time, her armor cracked. I was completely, utterly wrong. You have one of the most extraordinary voices I've ever encountered, and I am ashamed of how I treated you. The audience gasped. Victoria Sterling never apologized. Never. That's not enough, though, Victoria continued. Marcus Ryan, I move that we do something unprecedented. Marcus raised an eyebrow. What are you suggesting? Victoria looked directly at Naomi. I'm suggesting we bypass the rest of the competition process. I'm suggesting we offer Naomi a direct recording contract, right now, tonight, with full production support and a signing bonus that will get her and her daughter off the streets immediately. The theater exploded again. Ryan was nodding enthusiastically. Marcus was already pulling out his phone. Naomi's legs gave out. She sank to her knees on the stage, still holding Zara, sobbing so hard she couldn't speak. Victoria stepped out from behind the judge's table and walked onto the stage. She knelt down in front of Naomi, eye to eye. I need you to hear me. You are not a charity case. You are not here because we feel sorry for you. You are here because you are phenomenally talented. Do you understand me? Naomi could only nod through her tears. Victoria reached out and gently touched Zara's small hand. And this beautiful baby deserves a mother who can provide for her. We're going to make sure that happens. Marcus and Ryan joined them on stage. Marcus knelt down too. Naomi, I need to ask you something. You said you were a music teacher. What happened? Naomi took a shaky breath. I was teaching at Riverside High School. I loved it. But then my husband, ... he left, just disappeared one day, took all our savings. I couldn't pay rent. I got evicted. I was pregnant with Zara. I tried to keep teaching, but without an address, without stability, I couldn't. The school had to let me go. I gave birth in a shelter, and then we ended up on the streets. Marcus's jaw tightened. Ryan looked furious. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. That's not just a personal tragedy, Marcus said quietly. That's a systemic failure. The fact that a talented teacher, a skilled musician, can end up homeless because of one bad situation. That's on all of us. He stood up and addressed the remaining audience and crew. Everyone here tonight witnessed something important. Not just an incredible audition, but a reminder that talent doesn't live in fancy neighborhoods. Genius doesn't require expensive clothes. And the people we walk past on the street, the people we ignore, they have stories, they have gifts. Victoria stood as well. Starting tomorrow, we're launching a fund, the Victoria Sterling Foundation for Homeless Artists. We're going to find people like Naomi B., people with talent who've been forgotten by the system, and we're going to give them the support they need. Training, housing assistance, childcare, whatever it takes. The audience erupted again. Ryan pulled out his phone. I'm texting my restaurant right now. They're going to send over a meal for Naomi and formula for the baby. It'll be here in 20 minutes. Naomi looked up at the 3 judges standing above her, and she couldn't comprehend how her life had just changed in the span of one song. Marcus reached down and helped her to her feet. Naomi, we're not just offering you a contract. We're offering you a future. But I need to know something. What do you want? If you could have anything, what would it be? Naomi looked down at Zara, then back up at Marcus. Her voice was stronger now. I want to sing. I want to teach. I want my daughter to grow up knowing that her mother never gave up. And I want to help other people like me. People who fell through the cracks. Marcus smiled. Then that's exactly what we'll do. 3 months later, Naomi Rivers stood on the stage of the Golden Star Theater again. But this time, everything was different. She wore a simple but elegant blue dress. Her hair was styled. Zara, now a healthy, chubby-cheeked 1-year-old, sat in the front row with a social worker who'd become Naomi's friend and advocate. The theater was packed, every seat filled. Naomi's debut single, Still Here, had gone viral. Millions of people had watched her audition video. Thousands had shared their own stories of struggle and survival. The Victoria Sterling Foundation had already helped 15 other homeless artists get back on their feet. Tonight was Naomi's first official concert. As she took the microphone, she looked out at the crowd and saw faces from every part of her journey. Marcus sat in the front row, beaming with pride. Victoria was beside him, no longer the Ice Queen, but a woman transformed by her own reckoning with prejudice. Ryan was backstage, ready to join her on guitar for the final song. And in the back, wearing visitor badges, were 5 of Naomi's former students from Riverside High School. They'd tracked her down after seeing her video, and they'd come to support the teacher who'd once believed in them. Naomi spoke into the microphone, her voice clear and confident. 3 months ago, I stood on this stage with nothing but my voice and my baby. I was homeless, desperate, and invisible. Tonight, I stand here because 3 people chose to see me. Not my circumstances, not my appearance, but me. My talent, my humanity. She paused, looking directly at the judges. Marcus, you stopped me from walking away. You reminded me that I had value. Victoria, you had the courage to admit you were wrong and then used your power to make things right. And Ryan, you showed me that kindness doesn't require grand gestures. Sometimes it's just a meal when someone is hungry. The audience applauded, but Naomi held up her hand. But I also stand here because of everyone who's ever been overlooked. Everyone who's ever been judged by their zip code, their bank account, or their address. This isn't just my story. This is our story, and tonight we sing it together. She nodded to the band, and the music started. Naomi sang Still Here again, but this time it wasn't a desperate plea. It was a victory anthem. By the chorus, the entire audience was singing along. I'm still here, still standing tall. I'm still here. I survived it all. After the song ended, Marcus joined Naomi on stage with a microphone and an envelope. He spoke of her impact millions raised for homeless outreach, chart-topping music, and the courage that inspired thousands. When Naomi opened the envelope, she found a letter and keys. The foundation offered her the role of Director of Music Education, along with a fully furnished apartment. Overwhelmed, she collapsed into Marcus's arms as Zara was brought to the stage. Even Victoria hugged her, admitting Naomi had earned every bit of this. Ryan stepped out with his guitar, and together they performed The Sound of Being Seen, a song about invisibility and recognition. When it ended, Naomi addressed the audience, urging them to see others before judging. The applause rose again, as Marcus reminded everyone of her journey from the streets to the stage. 6 months later, Naomi taught a course called Music for Social Change and watched her daughter thrive in their new home. Marcus visited with a new proposal, expanding the foundation nationwide and naming her National Creative Director. He showed her the success stories she had already helped shape. Moved, Naomi accepted with one condition: the foundation would help all talented people who had fallen through the cracks. She kissed Zara's forehead and whispered, "We made it, baby girl. And now we're going to help others make it too." Outside, the city hummed with life. Somewhere out there, another person was standing in the rain, hoping for a chance. And because of Naomi Rivers, because of one homeless woman who refused to stay silent, there was now a system in place to find them, to hear them, to give them the opportunity they deserved. The sound of being seen had become a chorus, and it was only getting louder.